5 o'clock in the morning. A new day begins at Franz Josef Strauss Airport in Munich. The first plane, an Airbus A380, flight number LH731, is just in from Hong Kong. Today, the airport will accommodate over 1,100 aircraft and 120,000 passengers. The airport is located about 30 kilometers north of Bavaria's capital, Munich. It covers a total of 1,500 hectares and is divided into 3 main buildings: Terminal 1, Terminal 2, and the Midfield Terminal, belonging to Terminal 2, also known as the Satellite. In the center of it all, its distinctive tower. The very top is where the air traffic controllers of the German air navigation services work. The terminal controllers regulate all takeoffs and landings. The runway controllers monitor all the aircraft movements on the runways. The planners pass the takeoff and landing plans to the runway and terminal controllers. Matthias Andlinger is a supervisor. His workplace is 78 meters above the airport, at the very top of the tower.
So, good morning, Toby.
Morning, Matt.
How are things?
So far, so good. We've got 2 sick in the BMC. As always, we're a tad understaffed, but everything's going fine.
Oh yes, I can see that.
That means we both have to be on board a bit today.
Matthias Andlinger is facing a double burden today: coordinating the activities in the tower and independently granting takeoff and landing permission to the aircraft.
My job as supervisor is to ensure that all the positions here are filled, which means the 4 controllers and the 2 clearance delivery positions, and that each controller is at work for a maximum of 2 hours, and then has a break of at least half an hour. Pilots need the approval of a controller for every takeoff and every landing. The controller is like a traffic policeman who monitors all these junctions and determines who is first and second. There's no right before left rule and no red traffic lights. What counts here is what the controller says.
The special feature in Munich is that both runways are used equally for takeoffs and landings. The controller's responsibility is enormous. They have to monitor up to 5 airplanes simultaneously. This requires maximum concentration, and they have to regularly clear their heads.
You can take a break.
Matthias Andlinger is briefed by his colleague about the upcoming takeoffs and landings. He's about to take over sole responsibility for the south runway.
Check.
I've now taken over the PL South workstation here, which means I'm responsible for the southern runway and the surrounding airspace.
Cairo 497, good morning, wind check 240, 3 knots.
The supervisor informs the pilots about the current wind conditions on the runway, so they can account for things like crosswinds when landing, for example.
I've got 3 planes coming in right now. One's about to touch down, Lufthansa Airbus 319. Next one's at 5 miles. Meanwhile, the Iberia is starting. I already told it to go on the runway.
Takeoffs and landings are constant here, which is why the Iberia needs to take off quickly.
I've
I've given him clearance to take off. He shouldn't take too much time because the next plane is already at 3 miles,
weil die nächste Maschine
which means it'll land in 1.5 minutes.
landet in 1,5 Minuten.
The Iberia begins takeoff.
Lufthansa 07 Papa, wind 240, 5 knots, runway 26 left, clear to land.
The Munich Airport is a true aviation hub, with short and medium-haul flights bringing passengers into Munich from the countries surrounding Germany. Here, they transfer to larger planes flying all over the world. The aircraft should only be on the ground for as short a time as possible, and then fly off again as quickly as they can. In order to avoid delays, all departments must work together smoothly. The rapid reaction force on the tarmac are the ramp supervisors. Wherever something isn't working, that's where they need to be. Or when there's a premiere of some kind, like today.
We're on our way. Thanks.
Franz Ada is one of 2 ramp supervisors on duty. His mission, to bring this Airbus A350-1000 in. Today is the first time a plane of this type will land at the Munich Airport. At 73.8 meters, it is just under 1 meter longer than the A380-800, almost too long, as it turns out when parking at the outermost position.
The red line is the absolute red line. Nothing is allowed to cross it. That is the taxiway and that is the park position. And the taxiway is off limits to everyone. It must remain absolutely unobstructed. And now it's very much on the border. We are right on the edge. For safety reasons, I suggest we move the stopping point 1 meter forward.
This way, nothing will protrude into the taxiway during the next landing. Eight o'clock in the morning. More and more aircraft are now arriving at both terminals. What still looks like a little bit of luggage here accumulates into a serious flood of suitcases in the interior of the terminal building. The baggage conveyor system in Terminal 2 alone occupies a significant portion of the ground floor. Its conveyor belts run for a total of 46 kilometers. Baggage travels through a tunnel from Terminal 2 under the tarmac into the satellite building. Total capacity, 80,000 units a day in both terminals. Coming from the baggage carts, the suitcases first land on a conveyor. To ensure that transport runs smoothly, despite different bag sizes and shapes, each piece of luggage must be placed into a kind of tub. This allows up to 11,750 bags to be transported per hour during peak times. And because not every owner flies away immediately, the system includes a gigantic early baggage holding area. Munich Airport can temporarily hold up to 4,500 suitcases at one time. They remain on these shelves until their owners connecting flights. The rest will take less than 5 minutes from here to baggage claim for all passengers disembarking in Munich. Like many areas at the airport, the baggage handling system is also strictly monitored. Passengers don't even notice these checks. But there is another control who can affect everyone here. When moving from the baggage claim area to the public area, all passengers must pass through customs. Chief Customs Clerk David Staszewski and Customs Clerk Christoph Otto have been working here at the airport for several years. Their work equipment includes bulletproof vests and firearms. In 2017, customs officers seized 950 kilograms just of narcotics alone at Munich Airport.
All the American planes will be here any minute. Then we have a Frankfurt here,
Right.
the Basel.
The Johannesburg's coming.
Between 7 and 11 in the morning, a particularly large number of international flights arrive at Munich Airport. Every traveler must pass through one of these two channels. Green means nothing to declare. Red means goods to declare for import. The two agents are primarily looking for smugglers and fraudsters, but also for unsuspecting persons who don't declare goods requiring registration.
EU passengers have a green stripe on the side of the label on the suitcase. Everything that comes from outside the EU is just white. This is how we ultimately recognize the flight route.
Especially travelers from Asia and the USA are not always familiar with the import guidelines into the European Union.
Hello, ma'am. Where do you come from, please?
Düsseldorf.
Have a nice day.
This American passenger knows he has to register his gun. For this Chinese tour guide, Christoph Otto carries out a random check without having specific suspicion.
How much cash money you carry with you?
Cash money, I have about less 2,000 euro.
Less than 2,000, okay. You're back up here and then we shall look into it.
At the next table, his colleague checks this traveler from Cameroon.
The woman comes from an African country. Now we have to check to see what she's bringing in. Theoretically, it could be anything from banned foods to narcotics. You just have to take a look. This is probably some kind of tea here.
Those are vegetables for eating.
Passengers must declare cash amounts in excess of 10,000 euros and expensive electronic goods when bringing them in. Narcotics and perishable foods, such as fresh meat, fresh fish, or cheese, may not be brought in at all. For David Staszewski and Christoph Otto, many inspections are excursions into foreign cultures.
Now, what do we have here? Dried shrimps?
Those are crayfish.
Right.
They're tasty.
It's always a bit questionable in terms of hygiene, but yes, it's good. It's fine. I believe you.
That's really good food.
You see how different the cultures are?
Shrimps here, ready-made soups there. But on occasion, there are things in the suitcases that are just strange.
What's inside? Oh, you got all the passports.
Yes. I have 3. I have to keep all the passports for my group members. It's a very hard job.
Yeah, I see.
Lots of powders, lots of little stones. I can't always do drug tests on every traveler every time I find a little powder. You can't just criminalize everyone and suggest that they have drugs. That's why we have to smell it now and then and take a closer look from time to time. But everything the lady has with her is completely fine.
While Staszewski and Otto continue to search for forbidden goods, passengers in the public area of the airport can enjoy completely legal substances at the Airboy. "12 in the afternoon. The restaurant serves beer and other Bavarian delicacies almost around the clock. The special feature of the beer served here, it's brewed directly at the airport. An airport with its own brewery. That's unique in the world. Up to 8 typical beer varieties with flowery names are on the menu here. Their ale is called Fliegerquell, the wheat beer Cumulus. Bavaria and beer. It's a cliché the Munich Airport likes to have a little fun with. Indeed, it sees itself as Bavaria's gateway to the world. In 2017, 44.6 million passengers took off and landed at Europe's first 5-star airport, a trend that has been increasing for many years. More and more passengers and more international flights. But that also means more and more personnel for inspections, because airports in particular are places criminals and delinquents seek out to escape the authorities. Passport control, patrol duty, identity checks. Inspector Benjamin Koenig and Police Commissioner Lothar Reitmeier are on the go in Terminal 1. They are 2 of a total of 1,200 federal police officers responsible for passenger safety at Munich Airport.
Hi, you guys speak English? Yeah, I want to see the passports, please. But I want to see the passports from all. Yeah.
Okay, and your passport and your passport.
The 3 young foreigners have no passports, but they are in possession of a residence permit. Is it valid?
And this is also from you?
When I check someone, I first check what kind of document they have and whether it's valid, and whatever else he may need in addition to the document to stay in Germany legally. If I have a green light, I have to make a phone call, and then the person is called up in our system to see if there are any issues.
The residence permit is valid, but the question remains as to whether any one of the men is at odds with the law.
Yo, ciao. No, that's good.
The telephone check shows there is no evidence against any of them. One of the young men wants to return to his home country. The other 2 came to say goodbye.
Examining a person's legal status is certainly very complex. For us and the other employees, this also means that we have to keep each other up to date on the laws, but also on the different passports. New passports are constantly being issued, and sometimes there are new laws. That is why a large part of our work is making sure that we have the latest information and that suitable training measures are carried out accordingly.
The 2 federal police officers are now expecting the next rush of passengers. 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Once again, a particularly high number of airplanes are landing. At peak times like these, all passenger boarding bridges at Munich Airport are occupied. Ramp supervisor Franz Eder is on his way to one of them. It's defective. The passengers have been stranded on the plane for 10 minutes.
The passenger boarding bridge has a technical problem, and now a mechanic is coming to repair it. In the worst case, we'd have to deplane using stairs and then buses. But I always put that off as long as I can, until the technician tells me we can't fix it.
Exiting via steps and buses means an enormous loss of time for the passengers and for the aviation hub, even possibly delaying connecting flights. But then, the all clear. The technician can once again operate the passenger boarding bridge. The major machinery for operating flights in Terminal 2 runs here. in the Hub Operations Center. Munich Airport is one of the largest hubs in Europe. Jörg Abel is responsible for ensuring that all connections work as they should. And in the event of a delay, he has to make sure that no passenger gets stuck with an unnecessarily long wait for their next flight.
Here we see the flow of transfers. It's typical for a hub. We want to get our passengers from A to B, so the guests have to transfer here. We look very closely to see if the guests can reach their connecting flights the way we have envisioned. We use this tool here to see exact details for an individual flight, to see all the flights our passengers are transferring to. And the color code tells us which passengers reach their flight within a normal time frame. Those are the green ones. With the yellow flights, it's a bit more critical. In these cases, we have to think about how to transport the guests faster, so that they can still reach their connecting flight.
In the tower, the German Air Navigation Service's air traffic controllers are preparing for a departure rush. The number of international departures is now on the rise. Many aircraft are still in their positions, but soon they want to take off, practically at the same time. To prevent traffic jams, the controllers reschedule ahead of time. Supervisor Matthias Anlinger uses the southern runway exclusively for departures.
Now we're ready. We've already okayed 15 planes for takeoff on the south runway. The arrivals are slowly diminishing, so now I'll make sure we direct the rest of the arrivals to the north runway.
Hello.
Hello. After the Speedwing 869, arrivals to the north runway, please. Thanks. Ciao.
Ciao.
Matthias Anlinger gives clearance for takeoff in minute intervals.
Behind the next landing, Airbus 320, 2 miles out, line up 26 left. Lufthansa 1834, wind 290, 7 knots, runway 26 left, cleared for takeoff. Hello, Lufthansa 764, line up 26 left.
Lufthansa 764, lining up runway 26 left.
Lufthansa 453, wind 310 degrees, 8 knots, runway 26 right, cleared for takeoff. Lufthansa 764, connect departure, angenehme Reise.
Lufthansa 764, departure, bye-bye.
Alpha Hotel Yankee 8585, wind 290, 12 knots, runway 26 left, cleared for takeoff.
After an hour, the supervisor has wrapped up the departure rush. Now, it's time for his break. He has been with German Air Navigation Services for 35 years and is still passionate about his work.
It's wonderful when you see people from the plane you just gave clearance to land who are now arriving here with their luggage and walking down to the suburban trains. Or people coming out to the suburban trains, checking the boards for departure, and you know for sure when you're back up there, you will give the plane the takeoff clearance. People leave for their vacation and they're happy.
Meanwhile, at customs, here too, the number of arriving passengers is noticeably decreasing. But this box from a U.S.-American man seems suspicious to Chief Customs Clerk David Staszewski.
And for what do you need this?
Trade show. It's gifts.
Gifts?
Yeah.
Do you have an invoice of them?
No, I don't. You know what? Maybe I do. I have a packing slip.
Why you didn't declare this?
Because they have no value. They're just for trade show.
But it's not for private using, so everything what is for commercial using, you have to make an import declaration.
Okay, so I was told that for marketing material, because they're just giveaway, that they have no value.
But you have to come inside.
Okay.
And you have to make a declaration about it.
Okay.
So your private luggage, please, here.
Staszewski now has to determine the value of the bottles. The passenger may be facing a fine. Nevertheless, it is most important that all passengers feel comfortable at the air traffic hub. And that's just what they do. 14 million passengers worldwide choose Munich as the best airport in Europe. 5 stars were awarded, among other things, for clarity of signs and symbols. But the 150 shops and 60 restaurants and cafes are also popular. Center Manager Philip Ahrens is in charge of the shopping experience.
Munich Airport is a major hub. It's not only important that the operational processes are appropriate, but also the shopping experience. 50% of our turnover is generated by shopping. We try to guide passengers in a way that can trigger impulse purchases. So they pick up another small item at the duty-free shop, or go to another area and buy a watch, some clothes, or a suit. We try to cover a broad spectrum because we naturally have an enormous amount of traffic here.
On average, 122,000 passengers push through here every day. On peak days, it can be as high as 150,000. The most important thing for sales is the passengers who stay in the transit area and spend time in the terminal waiting for their connecting flight.
Of course, we try to guide the passengers centrally through our gastronomy and shopping units. And we make it very specific as well. We take advantage of the positioning and the knowledge we have regarding the passengers' shopping behavior, what they need, what they want to buy. Based on this, we design the routing.
So that passengers can easily catch their connecting flight and remain relaxed. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. In the past hour, many short and medium-haul aircraft have brought passengers to Munich for intercontinental flights. From now on, the airport will be preparing for the big evening rush hour. Munich Airport can handle a maximum of 1,300 takeoffs and landings per day. Now, the hub is preparing the large long-haul aircraft for takeoff. Among them, the largest passenger aircraft in the world. The Airbus A380-800 Johannesburg is ready for check-in. 5 such aircraft commute daily between Munich and destinations in North America and Asia. Passenger baggage, fuel, air freight. Ramp agent Michael Auler is responsible for loading. His first task, verifying the aircraft registration. In the aviation alphabet, the name of the Johannesburg is Delta Mike Echo.
The plane just came in from Beijing, almost an hour early, which is good because it gives us a little more time. The check is important because the entire weight calculation is based on this aircraft. Weight as well as the center of gravity and balance. This is therefore one of the first tasks we have to carry out on the plane.
Cold air is pumped from the terminal into the aircraft through these yellow hoses. The amount of kerosene required depends on the wind conditions forecast for the flight and the takeoff weight, all calculated precisely.
Pre-selected 141.5 tons were pre-selected for our flight today to Beijing. Current FOB, fuel on board, we're at 121 tons, which means we still need about 20 tons until the plane is fully refueled.
While Michael Auler continues to prepare the A380 for takeoff, staff at the Hub Operations Center are already one step ahead. They plan the routes for flights arriving in Munich in the next few hours. To make sure the hub runs as efficiently as possible, they intervene before an aircraft even takes off.
Here we see our return flight from Singapore to Munich. This flight was given a different route. Why? You can see that clearly in the system. That's Singapore, where our plane is at the moment. It will then take this route south through India and then fly up here towards Europe, until it lands in Munich. Normally the flight path goes much further north, but that wasn't possible this time, because the colours that you see here are severe thunderstorms over northern India, and they have to be avoided.
3:30 in the afternoon. The evening rush hour starts. Passengers begin checking in for the Beijing flight. Hundreds of suitcases make their way towards the A380, including the transferring bags, which have been resting in the early baggage storage. Each suitcase is scanned again and loaded into a container. A maximum of 40 pieces land here. They won't come out of the container again until they reach Beijing. If a passenger does not show up for departure, their suitcase can be quickly identified and removed. But it's not just suitcases along for the ride. There's also a lot of air freight to Beijing. Ramp agent Michael Auler compares the data on his load sheet with the packing list.
The weight of this unit is correct, at 3,496 kilos. It's supposed to be loaded at position 22 Papa, which is the rearmost position in the plane's front hold. There it goes. I'll check to see if the unit is airworthy.
In addition to having the correct weight, the air freight has to be packed in such a way that it cannot shift around internally. Sudden balance changes could endanger flight safety. Everything's okay. The ramp agent releases the cargo for loading. And then checks the anchorage in the cargo hold. At customs, the American passenger waits for the additional duty on his promotional giveaways.
Okay. The value of them is 361 euros. We have 7% the customs duty, and 19% for the import tax. That's complete 80 euros. And for not declaring, you have to pay a fine in the same amount like the tax. So 160 euros, 78.
Which needs to be paid immediately. Only then can the passenger enter Germany with his box. 2,300 of these duties were levied in 2017.
So I won't be bringing gifts next time.
Fortunately for him, the U.S. American is spared any criminal proceedings. 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The public area of the airport is now full of arriving and departing passengers. Benjamin Koenig and Lothar Reitmeier are now paying special attention to unattended luggage.
Does this belong to you?
Is this yours?
Okay. All of you. Okay.
A short time later, they discover what they had been looking for. 3 unattended suitcases in the rental car area. The 2 federal policemen quickly try to find out who the owner is, rule out a possible planned attack.
It's your luggage. There. No. Do you have any luggage there? Luggage? Das ist schlecht.
That's bad. That's bad.
The policeman must always assume the worst. There could be a bomb in those bags.
Sorry, you can't go this way now.
This means securing the site right away and sealing it off, then calling the detection dog and a disarming squad. But it won't come to that.
Yours?
Looks like the owner showed up after all.
It's not okay there. You have to put them always with you, your luggage. In the car?
Yeah, car, yeah.
Yeah. So, I need your passport, sorry.
Okay. No problem.
You just arrived? You arrived?
After,
Yeah.
Why do you leave your luggage here?
Yeah.
Why? It's an airport. I work this look for a car. Always
Yeah,
take it.
I know this, but you put the luggage now. Okay?
Have we already questioned him? Negative?
Der kam frisch an.
He just got here.
Der kam frisch
He was
an.
just
Der ist
stamped.
Frisch gestempelt.
Ja, then.
Well, then.
I don't system.
Okay. Take it. Take it.
Here, there is no punishment for leaving your suitcase, and no scolding for a lack of language skills. On the ramp, the loading of the Airbus A380 to Beijing is still in full swing.
In total, we now have almost 550 pieces of luggage. These will now be loaded according to the plan. Then, hopefully, we can leave our position on time.
But without the exterior check conducted by the pilot, the Johannesburg is not going anywhere. Before takeoff, Captain Roland Tourbier still has to check the general condition of his aircraft.
We always do an entire walk around. We start at one point and end at that same point. Here we mainly examine the sensors, which are extremely important. These are sensors for the flight data, and they can't be bent or clogged up. Of course, you don't see that now. This is the nose gear. We take a look at the general condition. What we don't want to see are leaks, anything broken, something that's dropped, or broken lenses from the lamps. We check the engines to see that the fan blades haven't been bent by a bird strike, for example.
For a good 15 minutes, Roland Tourbier moves around beneath the giant plane. The Johannesburg has now passed the exterior check. 4:42. The operations center sends Benjamin Koenig and Lothar Reitmeier to another abandoned suitcase. Supposedly, it's been there for 30 minutes already.
Okay. Servus. Hallo. Grüßt euch.
So, da machen wir jetzt einmal. Da geht. So, sorry. No, 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 no. No. Sorry, sorry, sorry. No. Please, you go around.
It's been here for half an hour already.
Okay. The
colleague went to get barrier tape, then we'll see. Has it already been announced?
Yes, but no one's reacted.
Is there anything that could help us identify the owner?
Besitzer? Nix.
Lothar Reitmeier indicates the status of the investigation. Up to 20 stray luggage items are picked up by the federal police in Munich every day. And each time, the officials have to follow the same procedure, regardless of whether this disrupts airport operations or not.
We have to be ready for everything. It is very likely that someone has simply forgotten their suitcase. But someone who knows what they're doing might also be trying to make it look as if it is a totally harmless piece of luggage. It could also be something else, of course. Depending on what Lothar decides, we will probably request the Special Forces, Dog and Disarming Squad. Raising awareness in the public area, where we are now, is quite different from what happens behind the security check, which is why we also cordon off large areas, to be on the safe side.
Meanwhile, on the ramp, the last 2 containers are loaded into the Airbus A380. Only after the loading process has been completed can ramp agent Michael Auler compare his data with the captain's.
What I'm handing over now to the captain are my load weights, the final figures. We compare the data which is necessary before we send the aircraft on its way.
After the cockpit handover, the ramp agent's job will be complete.
I'm listening.
Just a quick comparison of the load sheet.
Okay.
A total of 467 guests plus 1 infant, no specials from our side.
Wonderful. Very nice. Thanks so much for your cooperation. See you next time.
Great, have a good flight.
Flight LH-722 to Beijing is now almost ready for takeoff. Only a few passengers are still missing. In the central area, Lothar Reitmeier and Benjamin Koenig are waiting for the special forces. The first specialist arrives, bomb tracker Ellie and her handler. Ellie doesn't give an indication of any explosives.
It's all good, right?
Yeah, it's looking good.
That's fine, but the disarmer has to have his chance to conduct a technical check. And then, all of a sudden, a man claims the suitcase is his. At first, Lothar Reitmeier and Benjamin Koenig do not pay any attention to the alleged owner and wait for the disarmer's verdict. Once the technical check is over, he opens the suitcase.
And where's his passport?
He says it's inside. Let him take it out himself.
Yeah.
Only now is it clear. The man in the white shirt is the owner of the suitcase. And Lothar Reitmeier gets very angry looking at the passport.
We have a lot of trouble in this case.
I'm very sorry, actually. I wasn't even, I was working actually, I didn't realize the bag is missing.
But normally, I think you fly a lot. A lot of times, yeah. Normally you have to know, at the airport we have a lot of trouble in this.
I never happened in my life, actually. I made a big mistake today, I don't know how. I know it's a big, I'm very, very sorry, very, very sorry.
Okay.
Let's go.
After 1 hour, the federal police can finally give the all clear.
Dann gehen wir natürlich schon
Of course, we are very sensitive with an object like this, because obviously we don't know what's in it. That's why we had to cordon the area off and initiate our processes. Till then, my pulse was still relatively calm, but it increased a little when the owner arrived and said that he'd been eating dinner for an hour and forgot the thing. And although he flies often and should simply know that you don't do that.
The carelessness of a few passengers is Lothar Reitmeyer's and Benjamin Koenig's daily bread. But for today, their work is finished. 6:30 in the evening. In Terminal 2, the last passengers rush aboard flight LH722 to Beijing. Like so many, they come directly from a feeder flight, and just in time.
We have over 50 different connecting and feeder flights for this flight, which pretty much pushes the system to its limits. It's a challenge every time.
Finally, boarding completed. The pushback can begin. With a maximum weight of 544 tons, the Airbus A380 can take off. Preparing this aircraft for takeoff is a technical and logistical accomplishment. And yet, this is only one flight out of an average of 1,100 flights that take off or land in Munich every day. Up to 150,000 passengers arrive at or depart from this gigantic hub each day. For them, Munich is the best airport in Europe, and certainly one of the busiest air traffic hubs in the world.